great to be back after such a long break. And last time, remember, we started talking about the meridians and the paired organ meridians. We started with the liver gallbladder last time. And so this time I actually managed to, I get better every time. I managed to put the 5 transformations of energy graph onto the board there. I hope you can see it. So, we have the 5 elements, and starting with on the left-hand side, looking at the picture, there's wood energy, which is, we call it tree energy. So it's a tree in the picture. So that represents upward movement of energy. And then fire energy at the top, which is energy when it peaks. And then as energy starts coming downward, we have the earth element, or soil. In macrobiotics, we call it soil. And then as energy contracts even more, we have metal. And then we have floating energy, which is represented by water. And then the cycle continues again. So last time we did liver gallbladder, because I think I started with that because that's usually where we start not that it's any real starting point because it's a circle, but we start with that because it's the upward energy. And I skipped fire though, because I thought it was important to talk about stomach, spleen, pancreas, because soil energy is where we're at right now. In fact, we're 3 weeks into autumn, so soil energy, the atmosphere, the atmospheric change starts before, it starts in late summer. So it's really a late summer, early fall energy, and we're moving into metal energy. But because this is the time of year that when soil energy is nourished, I want to talk about soil energy, and then we'll move on to metal, and then water, and then we'll skip to fire. Maybe we'll do liver gallbladder again to prepare us for spring. So stomach, spleen, pancreas, we all know where those organs are. The stomach, of course, is in the center of the body, but the esophagus goes into the stomach. The pancreas is a smaller organ behind the stomach. It's dense, and the spleen is on the left-hand side, to the left of the stomach. Okay, on the right side is the liver. So stomach, spleen, pancreas. Its stomach is one meridian, and spleen, pancreas is another meridian. But I have figures representing the flow of those meridians as well. We'll get to that. So the stomach, spleen, pancreas is soil energy. So it's more contracting energy. It's nourished by a bit more downward energy, more yang, and it relates to this time of year, as I've indicated. It's stomach, spleen, pancreas is central to digestion, and more importantly, or as important, assimilation. Soil energy represents mother, harvest time. It governs the muscles. The taste that we associate with soil energy is the sweet taste. That's actually the most important taste, or the predominant taste of all the tastes. And sweet taste is what we are first nourished with mother's milk once we're born. And then the vegetables and the grain and vegetables that nourish the stomach, spleen, pancreas more are millet, and then the round and root vegetables like squash, cauliflower, cabbage, turnip, onions, which are very sweet and which are very delicious and at peak time right now. Aramay is the sweeter sea vegetable that nourishes soil, and chickpeas are probably more nourishing to the stomach, spleen, pancreas, but just slightly more emphasis, not much on that. And the sweet taste we'll talk about more later, because that's really important to keep your stomach, spleen, pancreas balanced. Okay. Okay. Next, I have a diagram. I'm so good this time, of the spleen meridian. So the spleen meridian starts on the outside of the big toe, so spleen 1. So it's the more yin meridian of the 2 pairs. Okay, and it goes up on the inside of the leg, on the side of the knee, on the inside of the thigh, and then on the side the side of the abdomen, and around the breast to the side of the breast and up into the throat area. So it's a very long meridian. It also, if you touch the points along the meridian, they're usually very tender, especially in women. The spleen is is associated with excessive menstrual flow. The spleen is also really injured by greasy, heavy foods. Can you tell me what is the job of the spleen? The spleen is responsible for assimilating nutrition, assimilating or absorbing nutrients and circulating them throughout the body. Okay, so the spleen can become very sluggish, and the spleen and pancreas are connected. They work. The spleen energy is the same as the pancreas energy for Chinese medicine and acupuncture purposes. So it regulates blood sugars. It's involved in the regulation of blood sugar as well. The pancreas, we know that, right? From our studies of hypoglycemia, which we'll get into in a minute. Okay, so that's the spleen meridian. Point number 1 is on the outside of the big toe. So just remember, so it's a yin, the more yin meridian, and it goes upward. Then the stomach meridian. Stomach meridian starts underneath. It starts on the head, just below the eye, and then it moves up like this, and then goes down around the ears, and then down the front of the body, the top of the thigh, and then the side of the knee. So it looks like it's on top of the knee, but it's actually on the just the outside of the knee. Not as far out as the gallbladder meridian. Doesn't run right on the side of the leg, but just to the side of the knee. And this is we have stomach 36, the number 36. That's the most important point for the stomach. So if you have stomach problems, acid reflux and so on, really massage this point, slap this point, tap on that point, and it will really relieve you of any discomfort in the stomach. And then the stomach meridian ends on the the second and third toes. Okay, so both of those toes are the stomach meridian. So it's a yang meridian because the energy starts flowing from up here, from heaven's force. So it's nourished by heaven's force. Okay, all right. So very important meridians. So when they're out of balance, when the stomach, spleen, pancreas is out of balance, or soil energy is out of balance, you become over nurturing. So you're only able to give and you can't receive. So you exhaust yourself. You get exhausted and resentful. And that's a kind of a common trait among most women, to mothers especially, to put out so much and not be able to relax and take anything back in. So that's an imbalance of the stomach, spleen, pancreas. And also an inability to move forward is an imbalance. Worry is the emotion associated with an imbalance in the stomach, spleen, pancreas. And too much analytical thinking will create problems, will create stomach problems, and problems in that area. So too much thinking, it can create insomnia, and it wears out this energy. Also, the stomach, spleen, pancreas is where we usually in macrobiotics, we talk about hypoglycemia. So hypoglycemia, as you know, is a low blood sugar. So hypoglycemia has lots of symptoms, but if the most predominant symptom of hypoglycemia or a soil energy imbalance is tiredness or fatigue in the afternoon about 3 o'clock, cravings for sweets around that time, or coffee or alcohol, sugar or a bagel, or just cravings and feeling really, really tired around 3 o'clock. That's the most common symptom of hypoglycemia, or the most noticeable symptom of hypoglycemia. People will often blame it on what they ate for lunch and so on, but the problem is kind of deeper than that. It goes further than just what you ate at your last meal. So other symptoms of hypoglycemia are mood swings, dizziness, lightheadedness, anxiety, panic, heart palpitations, panic attacks, fatigue, foggy thinking, your body just generally sluggish and heavy, um, not much motivation, and then acid reflux and gas and bloating after eating, and menstrual problems in women. Some kinds of menstrual problems in women are caused by spleen imbalance. So all these hypoglycemic symptoms are symptoms that all of us experience like every day, probably. But we talked about this at length, especially even mood swings. And I'm not talking about severe, catastrophic, mind-altering mood swings like somebody that suffers from out and out bipolar. Although it's a continuum, right? And bipolar or a diagnosed condition such as bipolar is an extreme version of this type of imbalance in the body. So I'm just talking about irritability, mm, frustration, depression. So you can feel depressed 1 minute or often depressed, at about from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, unless you have some sugar, and then feel better at about 6 o'clock, right? So I'm talking about that kind of a symptom, and that type of that symptomatic hypoglycemia. Everybody has hypoglycemia, pretty much. It takes many years of eating well to get that under control, or to even appreciate the extent that we're governed by this kind of imbalance. Okay, so how do these organs become damaged in the first place? So we know this is a repetitive, of course, but excess intake of animal food or eggs, salty aged cheeses. So animal food in all its forms, right? From steaks to hot dogs to cold cuts, any kind of animal food. I'm including fish in this, right? Although in macrobiotics, we say what the party line is if you're making a transition from animal food to a more vegan diet, then from time to time it's okay to have fish, depending on your condition. But fish, especially salmon, tuna, the blue fishes, they're very, very strong. They're almost the same as animal food. So it too much of that strong animal food, eggs, salt, aged cheeses, any kind of dairy actually will cause tightness or contraction in those organs. Too much hard baked flour products as well. If you already have given up animal food and dairy food, and you've been macrobiotic for a while, and you're not getting the kind of relief that you want from hypoglycemia, it's usually you have to really take a look at how much baked products, how many sandwiches, pizzas, whether gluten-free or not, um, cookies, cakes, whatever quality, baked products in general, potato chips, salty foods, salted nuts, things like that. Eating late at night also is problematic. And in macrobiotics, it's just, we're not supposed to, the rule is not to eat 3 hours before going to bed. Uh, and too much greasy or oily food, that's very damaging to the spleen especially. Not enough good quality sweet in the diet, and we'll talk about that in a second. Chaotic eating, now we're getting to lifestyle problems that create hypoglycemia. Chaotic eating, eating at erratic times, not sitting down to eat, not chewing properly, not being mindful when you're eating, not paying attention to how much you're eating or how you're eating it, your posture when you're eating. Are you sitting down? Are you lying? Are you slouched on a couch? Are you eating in a car? Are you standing up when you're eating? Skipping meals and eating different amounts of food. So not being consistent in your eating. So that wreaks havoc on your system. Your intestines get all confused. Your blood sugar is all over the place. It's really important to get your lifestyle under control as well. Okay, next. So how do we nourish these organs? So it's like, talk about this a lot. So eliminate animal food, including eggs and dairy. Really limit baked flour products, including cakes, donuts, pretzels, chips, pita chips, organic chips, good quality chips, gluten-free, gluten-free snacks as well, gluten-free cookies or, it doesn't matter if they come from a health food store, it doesn't matter if it's organic or all perfect organic ingredients are used. If it's hard and baked, it's causing tightness in the body. So if you have a problem with hypoglycemia, really take a look at how much of this you're consuming. Even good quality bread, a couple of slices of good quality sourdough bread is fine, but you know how difficult it is to just have a couple of slices of even good quality bread a week. And so then also make sure to include mild lean in your diet every day, even if you don't think you need it, even if you're not craving it. So if you have mild lean in your diet, it keeps your sugar a little bit higher if you suffer from hypoglycemia, so that you will kind of preempt the cravings for really sweet stuff like sugar, alcohol, coffee, honey, and all those things. Um, uh, what do they have now? Lattes and chai lattes and all those things that people are addicted to, sodas and so on. So you have to wean yourself off of that, but also you have to make sure that you are having mild lean every day, like hot apple juice, like sweet kuzu drink, like poached pears, like some good quality macrobiotic desserts with mild sweet flavor using rice syrup as opposed to sugar or maple syrup. So it's important to have um, good quality mild sweet. Uh, who's saying that? How can I never have? Oh, you, in order, that's a good question, Liz. What is it? Okay. Um, how can I have most of the symptoms of hypoglycemia, never had low blood sugar, but have diabetes? Hypoglycemia always will eventually lead to diabetes. So hypoglycemia is low blood sugar. That means that the pancreas becomes really, really tight. So it becomes worn out. So you have the symptoms of hypoglycemia. Then the pancreas, you don't deal with it. The pancreas becomes more and more compromised. It's like an elastic band. When you pull an elastic band, it gets tighter, 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 tighter until it snaps, right? The same kind of principle. So finally, when the pancreas becomes so tight that it becomes weak, then the diabetes, then the cells don't work properly, and then chaos reigns supreme, and then diabetes sets in. But you can. This is driving me nuts. Yeah, but when you describe your pre-macrobiotic days, Liz, you have all the makings of a severe hypoglycemia, given your cravings and your other habits that you've told me about. That tells me that you had hypoglycememia, and then it gets to the point where then it turns into diabetes. That's why type 2 diabetes happens later in life. It's many years. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Okay. Um, so this Mildine, if you have diabetes, as we learned on our trip, our Macro Polo tour, you got to gauge yourself with this mild sweet. See how much mild sweet is too much mild sweet, right? Okay. And also you have to enjoy what you're doing. Like you have to find sweetness in your life, they say. And that means finding, getting pleasure in your day to day, finding what you love to do, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if you don't think that you should be liking this. Like, I don't know, say you like crocheting, but um, part of you thinks it's a waste of time, it's not productive. Forget about all the shoulds, right? Just do what you like doing, even if it's small things. It doesn't have to be a gigantic project. Even, I don't know, um, whatever it is that you enjoy, like whether it's going outside in the park and looking at the flowers. If that's enjoyable to you, then do it. Don't judge yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. That creates tightness as well. So if you can get in touch with what makes you feel calm and relaxed, and try to do that as much as you can, and try to crowd out the things that cause you um, stress and discomfort. Um, that's good for your stomach, spleen, pancreas. It's good for your whole. It's good for your health in general, but especially good for those organs, because they're also governed by stress. So it's like internal. You take in You create stress for yourself by having animal food and salt and baked flour products and so on, which causes all these cravings for sugar, and so you're swinging back and forth wildly. But also stress is caused by your external environment, right? If you hate your job, that's stressful, and um, you compensate for hating your job by having beer at the end of the day, say, I don't know, whatever it is, or having, donuts throughout the day, or having lots of coffee to get through the day. We hear people say, oh, I can't get through unless I have my coffee in the morning. Okay, so look, these are all addictions because these mask your real symptoms. So try to find enjoyment in your life. If you can't quit your job that you hate, then try to find other things that you can do during your breaks that you like, right? And just try to crowd out the uncomfortable or distasteful things that you feel that you have to be engaged in. Um, okay, regular meal times are really important. And we talked about this ad nauseum. Breakfast at the same time every day, lunch at the same time every day, dinner at the same time every day. Don't eat for 3 hours before going to sleep. If you need Myalgene, you can take it between meals. If your blood sugar goes down too low, of course, you can eat something in between meals, but make it Myalgene. Don't eat something really strong, like a bag of salted peanuts, because it's just going to exacerbate your problem. So be intelligent about your choices. Sit down to eat. Try to eat away from your desk, or not eating in the car, not eating standing up. Try to make eating a pleasant time, even away from iPads and phones and things like that. And taking a walk every day, that regulates your metabolism and creates order. If you can take a walk every day at a minimum, that's fantastic. And if you want to do other exercise, of course, it's great to exercise like yoga, tai chi, hiking, tennis, um, whatever you enjoy, dancing, um, martial arts, and so on. And also keeping your surroundings clean and orderly is important. But as your condition improves, though, and you become more orderly um, in your daily habits, your surroundings will also improve. And decluttering is also a really good idea. It makes you feel better. If your environment um, is cleaner and less cluttered, your mental condition is going to feel less stressed. And there's a really good website, which I wrote down here. It's called Fly Lady. It's www.flylady.net. And she gets you into the habit of doing some decluttering every day for just 15 minutes and no more than 15 minutes. So then, I think that's the last page. Okay. Also, if I haven't stressed this before, or I must have mentioned this before, but cold, okay? Avoid cold drinks, cold food from the refrigerator. Always heat up your food. Have it at least at room temperature, if not warmer. Your body, it stresses your body out a lot to have to heat up to body temperature food that comes out of the refrigerator, or cold food, cold drinks, drinks with ice in them. Always have at least room temperature, if not, hot drinks. It just helps your middle organs be more relaxed. Cold is very shocking to the body, and it takes a lot of effort, like I said, to heat up. Okay, so the other thing I want to mention, we can just go back to the meridian charts. For those of you, well, Ro is new, but for Liz and Karin and Susan, you already know about the Meridian Stretch, and also about slapping on your meridians. So if you go, for example, take the Spleen Meridian. If you tap like make a light fist and tap, starting from the inside of your, the side of your foot and going up on the inside. You can tap, or you can even massage that area, and you'll find all kinds of spots that are very tender if you press, with enough, um, with enough oomph. Don't be a suck and just pat yourself. And so those places where it's sore, there's either a blockage or there's an absence of energy, or it's empty. The point is empty where it should be full, or it's too full when it should be, or it's just too full. So stay on those points, massage them, rub them, gently tap them, okay? And that will invigorate the meridian and it'll get the energy moving more smoothly. Same thing for the stomach meridian. Don't be afraid of um, of of tapping yourself vigorously. Don't be a wimp about it either, right? Especially the spots that are sore. That's where you want to tap because that will help unblock the meridian. All disease is caused by blockages in the meridian or many meridians. Often it's usually more than one meridian that's been blocked. Okay, so and also the meridian stretch is really helpful for these very long meridians on the front of the body. Walking is also really good. Just the the, the movement, the walking movement, right, stimulates the whole leg. So you get a lot of benefit from just walking if you can't do anything else. Okay, any questions? Eggs too. Eggs too what? Yes, avoid eggs. Eggs are like really, really concentrated yang energy. It's more concentrated than even animal food. It causes all kinds of problems, and it's very hard to eliminate eggs from the body if we've taken too many. One, choose their food or drink a lot. Won't that help to make the food more room temperature? Yeah, but you're doing it in your mouth. The question is, what about if one chews their food or drink a lot? Won't that help to make the food more room temperature? Yeah, but I mean, I guess if that's your only option, if you're in a concentration camp or something, then yeah, chew your food a lot to make it warm before you digest it, before you swallow it. But I think it's just better to have warm food that you can heat up. Where is the pancreas meridian? The pancreas meridian is associated with the spleen meridian. Spleen and pancreas are the same meridian. They don't differentiate. But the pancreas is right behind the stomach. So anything that you do to help the stomach meridian will help the pancreas too, because it's right behind the stomach and a bit to the left. So they're all stuck together there. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I'm just looking at the questions I've done for them. Can I eat a clementine? Liz, you have to see because because remember we ate figs in Italy and then you had your blood sugar went up. I think a clementine is pretty mild, but you have to see how you react to it. And which meridian is around the shoulders? It's the intestines. So the small intestine comes up and goes to the back of the shoulders. Up here, the large intestine comes up this way, goes through the jaw, and the triple heater also comes up this way. The stomach meridian doesn't go through the shoulders, but it goes around the ear. Let's just see. Stomach goes around the front. Spleen also goes around the front. So it's the intestines, right? When you have sore shoulders, they always say that it's like you have to do with your intestines. But if you're doing the meridian stretch, are you not finding any relief from that? Yeah, you should be getting relief from over time. Those meridians are so tight. Those meridians are so tight, and there's so much congestion in the shoulders from years of neglect. Why is it important to eat the same amount every day? Because your body gets used to your body gets accustomed to. mm, well, it's never good to eat large amounts of food, but if you're erratic, like if one day you're having like um, you know, two grapes for breakfast, and the next day you're having a big porridge and miso soup and pancakes and so on, and then that's too chaotic. It creates chaos in your body. Your, but if you want to create regularity and you want to regulate your hormones and other bodily functions, then eating at regular times and consistent amounts doesn't mean you can never have a bigger meal, but it's just because then your body is has to send out different quantities of digestive enzymes and other things, right? So that when your body has to spend time digesting food, it's not using that same energy to keep you healthy, in a nutshell. And that probably didn't make any sense. I'm not sure. I hope that's helpful. Okay. Anything else? Do you guys want me? I'm gonna stop recording now. And next week we're gonna do lung, large intestine, Karen. So we'll talk about shoulders. Okay. So good night and see you next week.